having the whole space. But what we've been, Julie's done it for a few friends just to check out the space, and so she's parked as far away from the mansion as possible in case there's anything going on there. We don't want to, take anyone's spots. And then as you're exiting the park, that hill is a great spot to have people running up and down. And the baseball diamond's a good one to,
All right.
We're moving it closer to you, Joe. You keep saying you're coming.
Well, I was going to save that for the end because, for 3 years I've been
You could come.
I think is Eddie Way still here? I believe I'm coming Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from 9:15 to 10:15.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be there as soon as the spring weather warms up. I'm not a cold weather. Yeah, that's great. No, I'm definitely I got to get over there.
There is one other conflict, and that is in the summertime. We've discussed with Lee the day camp programs that we have take up a large part of the center of the park. But Lee's program, what we've seen at Rydtown Park is she can move her people virtually anywhere in the park to get them out of the way, because she uses natural resources as part and parcel of the exercise.
Am I going to need like a fancy workout kind of outfit?
I want to see you in, those headbands, leg warmers. Leg warmers are so in style. I want to see that.
Rambo Van Damme.
There you go. All right. Any other questions from the board?
Okay, so currently this is on a trial basis and there's no charge to the people attending the class.
Actually, we have been doing that up until last week, and we're hoping to start charging now.
Okay, what are you going to be charging per person?
The drop-in rate is $20, but most people sign up for a program, which brings it down to about $15 per class.
So it's $20 per class. Unless you sign up for more, then it's $15 per class.
Correct.
Okay. And how many people are you thinking are going to be attending?
Well, at the moment, we only have 4 solid sign-ups, but that was how I started out in Rydtown Park, and, I probably have about average 15 per class now. So we're hoping to build it up to the same.
Okay, and Bishop, how does this work out? She has to make an application, correct?
Again, she would have to provide us with appropriate insurance, subject to the council's approval of the program. And at that particular point, all we really need is the insurance. We would then schedule her with a series of permits for the time frames that she's looking for.
Right. Okay. So it's not a 1 year permit. It would be by monthly. What I'm saying is that she'll make one application.
Right.
And just like, let's say, youth soccer. They make one application, and then she'll work the schedule out with you.
Correct.
And the permitting throughout the year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Very good.
And just for the council's edification, the revenue received from this program was about $3,500 last year at Rydtown Park.
Okay.
So it's not insignificant in terms of the revenue. If it's successful, I happen to agree with Lee. It'll be a great thing for the community.
Yeah.
And frankly, it'll be a nice revenue boost to Crawford Park.
The one thing that I see here for Supervisor Carvin, this could fall into the model American community. Now, obviously, everybody knows Michelle Obama is working tirelessly, obviously, to do the best that she can to get our youth fit. And so maybe this is something that we can help champion. And if we could, if we could, maybe try to sponsor some young kids that may want to take this boot camp program, and maybe we can partner with the White House and have some kind of national recognition. I think that we can use
school though at this time.
We can use our the summertime.
Yeah.
We can use our pulpit here to raise the flag for you, and maybe this may be a great partnership for a model American community.
That's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. One of the ways we're trying to get more involved in that side of things is we're working with the Carver Centre at the moment to figure out how we can either offer programs for the moms there or the teenagers there. So hopefully they'll be able to tie those both in too. At the moment we haven't been working with children so much, but that we're working with Crawford Centre.
Take it easy now, all right? That'll be great. I think it's a great opportunity.
No, I think it's great all the way around. I think it's a win-win for everybody, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Terrific. Can I get a motion to approve
So moved.
No, that's just a discussion, but that's ultimately, I think we're not approving anything. She goes through the permitting process.
Right.
Okay.
So nothing to do.
No formal approval. Okay, great.
Good.
Wonderful. Well, Lee, thanks so much for coming. I'm gonna do both
Thanks.
right now.
Where did you
2012. What's your website?
On TV.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, get on TV. There you go.
www.ridebootcampbythebeach.com.
Bootcampbythebeach.com. Wonderful. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Julie. Wonderful. Okay, now you may want to stick around and listen to the new dental benefits plan. the new dental benefits plan. Okay.
Well, we prefer to call it looking under every rock.
There you go. How much are we saving? Let's go. Let's see how it's. So
if you can
how much?
Go right to the bottom line here.
Yep.
The total savings is $10,120.
Beautiful.
Understand the town only gets 85% of that because the employees are contributing 15%, so that's the split.
Yep.
So this cuts the premium for the employees and the retirees that are in the plan, as well as saves a substantial amount of money for the town.
Beautiful.
You see in there that the new benefit plan is actually better than the old benefit plan.
Yep.
So we're highly recommending that
Any
you
questions
approve.
for the board?
Did any of the town employees like to know about this plan? Have they any comments on it?
No.
Affecting them, not.
We did not distribute it to the town employees because we wanted to make sure that the council first approved the concept before we raised any hopes.
I think it's a valid question, though, because, are there any concerns about doctors, that they currently use now versus wouldn't be covered in this plan, or anything out there that could, cause turmoil in a household?
Both plans are, I think that what they're called is PPO plans. Mm-hmm. So although there's a preferred provider plan, there is no restriction on using your current dentist no matter where they are. The benefit reimbursements are essentially the same.
Okay.
I trust Bishop. He's been extremely diligent over the past 4 years when it comes to insurance, both for the town of Rye and Rye Town Park. And I know that he has done his homework, and so I would make a motion that we adopt this resolution making this change.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I think now that you have the board all in favor?
Aye.
Right. I think now that you have the board approval, I think the suggestion has come from the board that we hand it to the employees and see if there's any objections. If you get any
legitimate,
serious or legitimate, then bring it back.
Sure, we'll bring the vendor in and actually have a session with the employees.
I have to say that I did go through to look like vendors that I knew, dentists and that, and they have a lot in this plan. They do have a lot, so it shouldn't be a problem. But
Beautiful. But I think you're
just out of a courtesy, I think.
Right,
employees.
exactly.
Great.
That anybody's having worked on.
Exactly.
okay. Disaster management grant.
It's not going to approve this?
Yes.
No, we approved it.
Yeah, we did.
You're right tonight, Paul?
I'm not.
You're slipping.
Watch the Bishop here.
2 weeks in Vietnam, and the guy, 2 weeks in Vietnam, and he's a whole other, he's very chill. He's got that Buddhist-like Zen aura of calm around him.
That's not easy around here. I think we already lost Mitch. You sent him off to get something. I'm thinking, I got something coming up, and I'm going to be doing this Burger King resolution. Mitch got in his car and drove off. He's had it with this guy, man.
Well, to be fair, 4 years we've been asking for the same thing.
I hope he's downstairs.
He's typing up that memo as you speak, Joe.
I wonder. I know I saw the memo. He did say
All right, okay.
I'll be leaving now.
Mr. Arcaro.
We see what happens.
Mr. Arcaro, your boot camp class. No, Mr. Arcaro.
Sure. You have before you a resolution to accept a grant from the New York State Archives which delightfully is the third grant in the past 18 months that the town has been able to secure, thanks to the relationship, I think, between Hope and Nick and the New York State Archive. As you recall, they provided a $5,270 grant, which was used in part for some of those interns that you saw the expense side for, to take the minutes of the town council meetings and the minutes of the Wright Town Park Commission and digitize them. Shortly after that, you recall, we had the flood almost a year ago, I think, pretty much, Bishop, yeah. And that led to another relationship, which led to a grant, and the archive provided $15,000 to the town to help pay for the damage to the archive down in the basement. This is a third grant from the New York State Archive for $10,000 to secure a consultant, totally paid for by the grant, not to exceed $10,000, to provide a disaster management plan to the town for adoption and review and adoption by the council. So it is a request then to to accept the grant, to go out for the RFP, to do the work, to be completed by June 30th.
Oh, sorry. Is there any cost associated with this?
Yes, the cost will be $10,000. There's no cost to the town because it's totally covered by the grant.
That's for the consultant.
So it's not a matching grant?
Right, exactly.
What exactly is in the disaster management plan? Because that could cover a broad range of, broad spectrum of services.
Pursuant to the state, they tend to outline what is expected to be covered in the plan. So some of that is the physical issues, damage from water, damage from fire, some of the security issues about or how to protect our data. Those kinds of things in the event of disaster. But they also have a third important section on prevention, what to do to minimize the risk of some kind of disaster happening. And so it follows the model that the state says, this is the way we look at disaster management planning, and there are a number of consultants who have done this kind of work.
Do we have a disaster management plan with Sullivan Consulting right now for our IT networks?
Oh, I'm sorry, from Sullivan?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think we need to move forward on this.
Okay, we're for Trevor. You want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Arcaro. All right, Crawford Park Non-profit usage. Here we go.
Here we go.
Your Zen may be challenged here on this one.
We're smiling.
So, but I need a real brief explanation, Mr. Nowotnik, what we're trying to do.
All right. The brief explanation is on the third page. This is essentially the non-profit usage policy that was deferred for the last, I think, about a year and a half to 2 years. When you did the alcohol policy, we pushed this aside and said, let's not make any changes to non-profits.
Right.
All right, what we have done is we've suggested one change here that ties in a little bit better with the Model American Community program, and what we're saying here is A, nonprofits within the town of Rye certainly should get a discount, but should pay something for the use of Crawford Park. We have to cover some of our overhead, we have to cover some of our costs, etc. So we offered a 50% discount to the existing prices.
Sorry, you said we've offered.
Well, we're proposing. We're
The current
proposing.
policy is what?
The current policy is everybody gets it for free.
Right.
Okay,
So
that
you're
includes.
recommending changing that policy
I'm recommending changing the policy.
and charging 50% to not-for-profits.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, we also added a dimension to take into account the Model American Community participation, saying that if any of these nonprofits agreed to participate in the Model American Community project, we would then discount another 50% off of that, in effect giving them a 75% discount, which would still leave some residual monies that would perhaps cover some of our cost of operation when they have an event there.
All right, so what does it mean, participate in the Model American Community Project?
Well, as the supervisor has been nudging along, we want the nonprofits in the town of Rye to submit what I would call a dossier on their activities within the town of Rye so that we can include them in a Model American Community package so that when it's distributed to the community, we would be able to talk about what these nonprofits do, how they do it.
Right. I think dossier is a big word. I just wanted to, I wanted to make people so basically the proposal is that if you want an additional 50% discount,
right,
you submit to town board a description of your charity and what it does, and that description of the charity and what it does will be included in a overall Model American Community Town of Rye book that simply states who's out there, what they do, so we can begin to bring these groups together. But in terms of participation, they need to do nothing more than give us a description of the charity.
Correct.
What its objectives, what it does, and all that. Contact details. So we don't want to make it onerous in any way. But if you want, you don't have to do it. But if you want the further discount, the idea is to say, we want people to know you're there. We want people to know what you're doing, and we want to afford you the opportunity, really, to make that better known.
That would be a one-time.
Yeah, because that would be exactly right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. One-time thing.
Mm-hmm. No.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The one-time thing being one-time discount or one-time submission?
No, one-time submission.
And a
for the additional
discount. Lifetime discount, anyway.
No.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's right.
Oh, so wait, that's what I meant. So if they submit this thing one time, they have that discount all the time.
Correct.
Well,
they may want to update their filing, the following year.
Remember, lifetime amounts to the lifetime of the resolution that you pass.
Right, okay,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
Like all resolutions.
Like all resolutions, correct.
All right, so what about, how does that affect camp and things that are sponsored by the Village of Portchester and the
Well,
Village
we
of Ryborough?
anticipated that, and if you look at page 3, what we've asked is that we had a clause there considering an IMA for municipal recreation uses to offset operating cost impacts, and we've made the notation there to take this clause out for further discussion. I think that the municipal uses are significant, and I don't think that we can do them under like a blanket resolution. I think they need much more discussion and much more direct negotiation with each of the municipalities.
Well, that being said, one thing that and you have that number for us, Bishop, and with regards to what it costs to operate the park per hour. And I think that's the number that you were looking
It's
for
on the first page.
when it is it there? Where is it?
Yeah, the last paragraph.
Last paragraph. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
No. Well, is that what our events?
I mean, that's what your event coordinator costs. I mean, to give you an example, we're not even including what I would call the overhead costs of the park. Each time we have an event, we're hiring somebody to be there, either one of our full-time employees or one of our part-time coordinators. That's a cost of $104 right off the bat, assuming the event is the typical 5-hour event.
Right. So
some of the nonprofits, they run 6, 7, and 8 hours. For example, like the library will run from early in the morning until 4 o'clock.
Right. So, for the most part, I understand and support the decision to supplement, and support the nonprofit usage at Crawford Park, because that's a benefit to the community, and obviously it's a testament to the hard work of the nonprofits that are operating within the town of Rye. So now when we take a step back and look at the municipal uses of Crawford Park, and we look at the recreation for the summer camp and things of that nature, and those are, and we've said this in the past, those are events that, for example, one municipality is receiving income, to run these events at Crawford Park, and for the town of Rye, it's pure expense.
Correct.
No income. So we have to find this balance. Now, we don't necessarily need to make money on the event, but we don't want to lose money. So we have to find that finite number, Bishop. And you're going to say to us, listen, for us to have the park open, maintained, clean up, and everything else under the sun and that happens there, it's going to cost us $500 a day, or whatever it may be. And that's what we need to collect. Because all of the residents in the town of Rye should not supplement one municipality.
Right.
Okay?
If you look at the chart that I included, what we did was...
Oh, wait, sorry, but just to follow up, because I think Deputy Supervisor Holden makes a number of good points. And I guess the question is, I think we last year nominated people from the board to talk with the different municipalities, and I think we were having difficulty getting meetings set with the municipalities. I think, should we try and reinvigorate that approach? I don't want to, so I know we're not talking about municipalities tonight.
Right.
But, and I think maybe we should designate board liaisons to the different communities, and I don't know if people have different communities they want a liaison to. I think last time we had Dave Gelfarb was liaison with Rye Brook. I think Councilman Member, you were liaisoning. I don't know if that's the right word.
Portchester.
Portchester,
But actually, Mr. Arcaro is the one who ends up doing all of that. And
is that right?
Because, it was difficult, as he can attest.
Right. Well, can we make another effort to get some resolution here? Deputy Supervisor Lindholm, I think you offered to take over for Mr. Gelfarb.
Right, and I'll reach out. Now, I'll open up a line of communication with Mr. Bradbury, and
all right,
just so he knows that we're looking to bring resolve.
Okay, and then Councilman Mendocino, are you happy to stay with Portchester and work with Mr. Arcaro on that? Or do we want to give it to our new...
Christina
might want to look...
No pressure or anything.
Christina might want to, as a Portchester resident, take over with
I'm
that.
always happy to work with Greg, so
Okay,
sure,
great.
I'd be
All right,
happy.
I don't love work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know you and Deputy Supervisor Villanova did a lot of work on the caretakers. I thank you for that. Good. Okay, so any questions?
I do have a question.
Yep.
Do we have different fees, or what's the idea of different fees here for things like meetings versus events that are being held? You have a couple of these not-for-profits that are just using it for an hour for a meeting.
We don't have very many that do that.
Okay.
B, we really haven't implemented that until we finish the refinishing of the fire stairs and the upstairs of the Crawford Park Mansion. Our expectation is we will then come back to the council with a recommended fee structure of how to do that.
Okay.
So if somebody wanted to have a meeting now, it still would be 50% of the total price?
Oh, no. I mean, right now, currently, everybody is free.
Right.
And the only stipulation is that they have to work around our schedule. We're not going to
cancel an event.
We're not going to cancel an event.
Right.
Let somebody have a meeting.
But, for example, if the Rotary wanted to have a small meeting there and did not need the kitchen or the entire downstairs, certainly we could accommodate the Rotary upstairs, and at this particular point we would do it for free because that facility is not quite finished. Once it's finished, we think we can make an excellent case to say there should be some nominal fee, a cost per hour, if you wanted to use the conference facilities upstairs.
So now, go ahead.
What would you do with the village singers who meet every Tuesday for an hour or two? And
I'm taking a page out of Rye Brook. Rye Brook, for example, for groups like that, Rye Brook charges $30 an hour.
So we'd prorate.
And what we're looking at is saying we'd charge them $15 an hour. Yeah. I mean, all we really want to deal with is we need something to be able to accommodate turning the lights on, turning the air conditioning on, or turning the heat on, and saying, okay, $15 a meeting. As you saw, Lee Sanford has been successful, and she pays us $15 for every class that she holds at Ryetown Park, which is outside or on the beach. So her usage is quite nominal. Some of these other groups, their usage is extremely heavy. Village singers are in there 52 weeks a year. I'm trying to think. The old timers are in there 6 times a year. The chart in the back kind of shows everybody's usage and the frequency of their use.
So now, the part that we're carving out right now to talk about at a later date, does that also include police and fire?
Not really. I mean, the part that we were carving out was the municipal IMA. That was primarily for the recreation programs. For example, the PBA uses the facility, but the PBA is not really the village. That's the Police Benevolent Association, and in essence, it's the police union that's using it, and it isn't covered under the village. Now, the fire departments are covered under the village, but again, a lot of them are not what I would call village-sanctioned events necessarily. They're more social events for the fire departments.
So how was that 50% number derived?
Just pulled it out of the air.
And did you determine what impact that might have on nonprofit use of the facilities?
Well, the assumption was that the nonprofit usage would come down.
I would think considerably.
Well, we're not sure. I mean, I can only tell you that, to give you an example, we had a call.
How does that compare to some equal facilities around the area in terms of what they charge?
Well, most facilities charge regardless of your nonprofit status. All right.
Full, or is there a discount awarded to nonprofits?
There are discounts awarded, and for example, I think the City of Rye looks for 50% recovery cost in terms of total cost of operation.
That's different than 50% of what we charge for-profit organizations, right? Recovery costs would be basically...
Sure. I think we had provided a chart some time ago that broke down the hours. We tried to actually allocate the cost between the mansion, the outside fields, and the picnic pavilion. The reason why I say this is because
non-for-profits provide a valuable service to the community, and, I think that, it's incumbent upon the town to provide some facilities for those organizations to meet and come together and benefit the community. And I think that a 50%, discount rate is too much.
Well, while I agree with Councilman Nioris, it's actually 75%.
75% if they participate in the Model American Community.
That's the intent.
Yeah, if they participate. If they don't want to participate, which they may not want to for whatever and various reasons, it's a 50%, of the full fare, which I think, is going to be quite substantial. I think there's a lot of nonprofits out in pros. I don't think that was the intent of donating Crawford Park to the town of Rye. I think it was made to benefit the community as a whole, and I think the nonprofits are a vital membership of this community, and I think that the 50% discount is too much.
I think we just need to really look at our cost of doing business there and figure out...
Too little.
Yeah.
Too much for them to pay 50%.
What do you propose, Bob?
I would propose having that, as a starter, and then see what happens, and then revisit it in a year.
So 75%.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're into the discussion mode now. So, Bishop, maybe you could provide us what the breakdown would be with a 75% reduction for the nonprofits, and how that falls into the cost per hour. If you let us know by next month, is fine.
Okay, fine.
And plus, on another note, because it is for a nonprofit, do we really need to recover, our costs or expenses in terms of using that facility? I mean, it's something to benefit the town and this community. In and of itself, it's helping the community become a model American community.
Well, what I'd like to propose, if we go to the 75%, that they only get it if they, the full discount, if they register as part of the book. If they give us that.
Well, that's the same what we have now. Right?
What do you mean?
That's what we're proposing.
That's what you're proposing now.
What do you mean?
No, you got 50%, but they get 75% discount if they join.
No, but my point is, it's a bit different. In other words, you're saying the 50% is not sufficient discount, so I'm taking that on board.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but you're saying 25% of the full whack is too much still?
No.
So I'm saying
that I'm saying it should be normally a 75% discount, and if you want to have something in it for Monaco American community, make it 50% of that, which is 12.5.
No,
Or make
that's
it
what I'm saying. I disagree
optional.
with
I can't
that.
imagine that.
My point is, I don't have a problem. I accept what you're saying and accept the logic of what you're saying in terms of the 75% discount is fair. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want to provide it, because I don't know who these not-for-profits are. Who knows? It's the Tiddlywink Society. 1, 2. Even if the Tiddlywink Society registers, they get the 75% discount. So
but they need to be a group personally in the town of Rye, right? It's not just anybody, right?
When we bring it to a vote, I just want to flag that I will only approve it if they do a very simple thing, and that's give us a description of their organization, and they incorporate it into our book. And if they don't want it, that's fine.
But don't they have to do that normally as a part of a 503C?
No, but this is different. This is for our use. Well, not our use. It's for the community's use.
I think it's pretty fair. I mean, I personally thought it was like a one-time thing. If you put it in the book, you get it forever. That's pretty good. But my one more question is that, let's say, let's say fire engine, Putnam and Hose, Miller, Ho, whatever, the two departments down there, they come in and they each give us the background history. That means anyone in that department will get the 75% discount.
No. The group themselves, meaning Putnam Engine and Hose, would be qualified because they've submitted whatever their material is. But if Harry Howard, which is a separate company, surprisingly enough, they are separate companies.
Right, no, I understand.
They would have
anyone in Putnam Engine and Hose.
No, this is not an individual discount. This is organizational discount.
Putnam, Miller, Engine and Hose had an event at Crawford, they would get the discount.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it does not apply to the individual.
But can I ask you, where do we stand with the remodeling of the upper floors of Crawford?
I don't have a good answer for you right now. The architect and engineers were supposed to get back to me with a...
but how are we doing on the fixing up?
Well, the
I think that we should let
Foreman DeLeo, I think, can give you a better appraisal.
Well, we'll let Mr. DeLeo make his report now. He can let it go early if you want.
Are you going to vote on this or not?
Well, I want Mr. DeLeo. I want to hear how these rooms are doing, because...
No, use of policy, we're not ready to vote.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I think we're done with that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and the town board.
Good evening, Mr. DeLeo. Thank you.
How you doing?
Good.
Okay. Now, on the list here, let me go over the list here, and then I'll go over the list for Crawford Park. Up in the old chamber room, right now the whole entire ceiling is completed. The priming of the walls are all done in that room. So we're doing work here as well as Crawford Park. So in the next couple of months, I would say 2 rooms will be done at Crawford Park as well. This will be all done here. So I would like to read this and then go over what's been completed so far. Okay, since last month, since we met the project report, there were some old carpets down on the first and second floor were removed. We put the new subfloor, and we put new tile downstairs on the first floor, on the foyer when you walk in. The subfloor was all rotted out. We had to replace it before somebody got hurt. The replacement of the subflooring and installation of ceramic tile on the entrance of the first floor restrooms. Okay, primed and painted second floor women's restroom, and we also did the ceramic tile when you walk in. We sized and cut and reinstalled the doors in the supervisor's office and the assessment office. Followed the carpet installation. Inspected and repaired bulbs on the light post at Right Town Park where needed. We replaced a wallboard in the dining room at Crawford Park following damage from a party rental, which I got a call like at 1:40 in the morning. So I got that taken care of. Also, there was a large pothole that we patched up at Crawford Park. And currently in progress is the refurbishment of the second floor men's room downstairs. Estimated completion will be done by Friday this week. And then once that's done, then my 2 staff people will be at Crawford Park, and they'll be, accomplishing the work list up on the second floor at Crawford Park.
So you guys haven't started working at
Just at the old chamber room, as the ceiling has been done and 3/4 of everything has been primed. I've been having the 2 staffers here completing everything down here, besides our regular routine stuff. So they are working, and they are working, as a schedule. They're following my schedule, every week.
Wonderful. Okay, so when will we get that upstairs completed, do you think?
The worst of the upstairs is the old vets room. So I'm assuming that it should be done within 6 to 8 weeks. Once these guys finish here this week, then those 2 guys can, keep on patching and painting up on the second floor. So by the next month, I'll have a better handle on how many rooms are done upstairs at Crawford.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. DeLeo. Any questions for Mr. DeLeo?
So what specifically, are you
basically patching, painting.
Because when I was up there was a lot of peeling and cracking.
Yeah, this is the old chamber room. The old chamber room up on the second floor where Ken Manning used to be.
Okay.
So basically, that place hasn't been painted in a number of years.
All right.
So just
what about the rooms across the hall from there?
The rooms across the hall from there. That area, the butler's quarters area, that's where I believe the staircases, the proposal of the staircase is going to go.
Right.
So we're doing everything on the opposite side of the mansion, where the chamber room is, all the way down towards the old vets room.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right, Mr. DeLeo, thanks so much. This is Jefferson Avenue Bridge. Is this you, Mr. Decrezenso?
It could be if you'd like it to.
I would. I'd like it to be, because that way we'll knock you out at 2. We'll get Superintendent Highways at the same time, right? I know Mr. Mark was anxious to get back up, but could you distribute what you have in the meantime while we're waiting so you just take a sneak peek?
Very good question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that.
I already got one. Maybe you can autograph it.
Okay, right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Has everyone looked at the report? Are there any, before I go over it individually, are there any specific questions?
Why, thank you.
I have just a broad question.
Okay.
How much money are we going to be spending on bridges this year?
On bridges, to give you an estimate, you're probably talking with the Jefferson Avenue Bridge, our share is 1.7 million.
Yeah, but that's not this year. That's going to.
Well,
Mr.
that obviously has to be
put out. They got a bond for that.
That has to be bonded. Yeah.
When do we have to do that?
Now.
We have to approve the project this evening, because Con Edison is awaiting our approval, and the Village of Mamaroneck is awaiting our approval, and some invoices that we have received now for the project have to be approved by Bishop and paid to the Village of Mamaroneck, because they've already spent the money.
Really good day. Let's talk about that.
There's some engineering fees that have come up, but we've spoken to bond counsel, and for this, because it's under $5 million, we can go out 20 years in bonding. So we got to get a timeline on when the total funds are going to be needed for the actual major improvements on this, which is anticipated for the end of the year, but it seems like this keeps getting moved up. So,
well, that's the reason for my question. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the project has been in the works since, I think, 2009, and everything was put forward.
I know.
Yeah.
We had the same kind of conversation last meeting, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's why I just want to make sure. When are we intending to bond this?
Probably. Well, go ahead.
Well, the project is due to go out to bid in the next 3 weeks, and construction is scheduled to start in May. And it's a one-season construction project, according to our engineers, so it should be finished by December of 2012.
So therefore, should we be bonding next meeting, approving a bond at next meeting?
it may take us for another meeting to get the information. We're also it's probably going to be 20 years, and we're looking at the different rates that are out there for this kind of project.
So you said below $5 million. If it had been above $5 million, you couldn't go out that far?
We can go out 40 years, actually. If it's above $5 million, you can go out 40 years.
And if it's below, we can only go
20 years. And if it's just maintenance, it would only be 10 years. That's bond council's, So 20 years. It looks like 20 years.
So why don't we can you use $3 million? But I mean, I'm only half joking, actually.
Another bridge may need to be replaced, right? The Otter Creek Bridge that has a 75-year life, which has expired about 5 years ago.
That bridge has been replaced. It was replaced about 4 years ago.
Right.
Then
4 or 5 years ago.
I might have that confused. Maybe it's the Guinan Creek Bridge.
Guinan Creek Bridge was also replaced not too long ago.
Keep going. It's got to be one of the
The only bridge that's going to need Otter Creek is going to require a wing wall repair.
I'll send you a report I did. One of the bridges has not been repaired or replaced in 75 years.
That's the Jefferson Avenue Bridge. That's the one that's being. This is the project we're talking about now.
There's another one. I'll get the information. I'll send it along to you.
Okay. Because every bridge that's in this report is the only bridges that we're responsible for.
It's one of these, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'll send you the information.
Okay.
But that bridge, if it requires a replacement, could be as big as the Jefferson Avenue Bridge.
I'm not sure which bridge you're referring to, but one of them, the only one that needs significant work in the future would be the Hillside Avenue Bridge.
Okay. What's the financial impact of going out 40 years rather than 20 years? Presumably it reduces, big one, right? Yeah. Significantly reduces the annual expenditure.
Sure. Right. Because you're making the bond payment and the interest payment
over 40 years. And what are the rates we're looking at for both 20 and 40 years?
We haven't got
more or less, but I mean, we're talking 5%, 3%, 2%?
We're talking probably like 3.5%, but 20 years it may go out 3.5% to 4.5%.
And then for 40 years.
I didn't get information on 40 years yet, so
well, I don't know if you can ask the same question, but Councilman Nior has put together a very coherent, comprehensive capital expenditure needs analysis at the end of last year. And where's Town Accountant Terenzi tonight?
I think he had another meeting.
Okay. So ultimately, I need you guys to come up with a plan, and I think, if we can get to $5 million and go 40 years, you're almost the same place, right? Because you're going to have your expenditures more or less, and so if you can go 40 years, is this just by state law?
We'd have to group the other capital projects to see if they qualified for. It's $5 million for bridges.
Oh.
So we could see if those other capital
it's only bridges.
There's different categories, so we'd have to see what, the other categories, capital improvements.
Can we borrow that money and keep it in a fund just for bridges? Like, just keep it separate and spend it as we need it?
Or can we recategorize the bond to incorporate capital improvements?
When you approve the resolution for the bonding, it has to be for a specific purpose. So that's.
Well, I'm saying we can identify the capital improvement. Those expenses. So if we can identify those expenses,
we could go out for.
So I tell you what we've been. As a top priority, would you put this at the very top of the minutes, Town Clerk Vespia? And with big, bright lights that say to do. I want 2 months from now, a full-on capital analysis follow-up from Mr. Nior's comprehensive report. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I want to get a broker in here, and I want them to, figure out whether it makes sense to either divest these buildings or, take advantage of the low interest rate environment and try and go out 40 years. I want a specific recommendation from Mr. Burns, Mr. Decrezenso, Mr. Nowotnik, and Mr. Terenzi. You got 2 months. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get that. And we talked around this, but let's create a team around that. If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Burns and Mr. Decrezenso and Mr. Nowotnik, Mr. Trenzi, and let's make a concrete recommendation for that. Obviously, we weren't expecting that tonight, but let's try and get that for 2 months from now.
Yeah, in addition to that, we're currently in one of the lowest interest rate environments in the last 50 years or so. Number one. Number two is there are a lot of companies out there that are looking to get some